There are 15 total transformations in the Binding of Isaac. There's also Super Bum, but I plan on making a video of a deep dive into familiars, so we'll discuss him later. Some of these are super well known and super powerful, and some of them you probably have never even heard of. Let's learn everything we can possibly learn about these transformations. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you want more Isaac Overexplained videos. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Some ground rules to start us off. For all transformations, losing the passive items or trinkets for it will remove the transformation. The only exception to this is when Tainted Isaac drops an item. So this is sort of a way for Tainted Isaac to gain extra value outside of his 8 item slots. Active items can be picked up and placed back down for transformations, and you will maintain progress. I mean, obviously this is true because without this, Bookworm would be literally impossible. And duplicate items are all counted towards transformations. Necromancer is the newest transformation that was added in Repentance Plus. It is extremely specific, requiring 3 exact items. These are the Necronomicon, the Missing Page 2, and the Trinket, the Missing Page. This causes your Necronomicon's charge bar to become purple and deplete by 10% each use. This special bar recharges at the start of each floor. I genuinely wonder if anyone has naturally came across this transformation without deliberately seeking it out. Let's run a statistics thought experiment. This is all extremely rough, okay? I'm not a statistician, obviously. Let's just have some fun. So I'm going to be extremely generous for our chances to find these items in a run. First up, the Necronomicon. This can be found in the Devil Room, Secret Room, and Library. For the Devil Rooms, let's say you find 15 Devil items. There are 96 Devil items total in the pool. To find the chances of finding the Necronomicon, we can simply just do 15 divided by 96. Now, since we are taking items out of the pool and not replacing them, since when we take them, they are being decremented, it is technically more correct to use a hypergeometric distribution for this, but since there's only one success in the population, the probability ends up being the exact same. So for this analysis, we can just simply divide to find the chances. For secret rooms, again, let's be very generous and say you find 3 secret room pedestals each run. There are 67 secret room items total, so this gives us a 4.48% chance. For the library, let's say we find 4 books on display. For reference, libraries only have a 5% chance to be on each floor, so this is very generous saying we're finding 4 books each run. This gives us a 26.67% chance. To find the combined probability, it is 1 minus the chance we don't get a Necronomicon. So we multiply the inverse of the 3 probabilities we just found. This gives us a final chance of 41%. I'd say that passes the sniff test. Given these very generous conditions to find a specific book being 41%. Missing Page 2 is found in the same pools as Necronomicon, but switch out the library for Devil Beggar. Let's say we get 3 Devil Beggar payouts per run. There are 38 Devil Beggar items total, so this gives us a 7.89% chance. Calculating using some of the probabilities we found earlier, we get a combined chance of 26%. Now for the Trinket. This is easily the most restrictive part. From my room clear rewards video, check it out, shameless plug, I don't care, we can say that the chance of getting a trinket is 2.66%. Let's say you clear, 200 rooms in a run of Isaac. This gives us 5.32 trinkets, so let's just say 5. There are 188 trinkets in this game. This means we have a 2.66% chance to get the missing page. Let's be generous and say 5%, as you can obviously find trinkets in tons of places like shops or chests. And I mean, the sheer fact that there's 188 trinkets, I think 5% is very generous to find a specific one. Finally, multiplying all of these together, we get a chance of 0.527% to get the Necromancer transformation. or 1 in every 190 runs. This is with extremely generous assumptions. Every single run finding a library, getting secret room pedestals, devil rooms, etc. Let's just say, for example, half your runs you decide to go angel rooms and switch it up. That would increase the odds to 1 in 380. This is just an insane transformation. After all that yapping, let's go over a simpler one we all know and love. Bookworm is obtained by touching 3 separate books. Its effect is relatively simple, 25% chance, which is unaffected by luck, to fire a second tier. The second tier does not have reduced damage, so this equates to a 25% DPS increase if you hit all of your shots, which is pretty solid. Not really anything interesting with Bookworm, its effect stacks with items such as Mutant Spider or Inner Eye. One of the goats of transformations, Guppy grants flight and a 66% chance to spawn a blue fly upon hitting a tier. Again, we all know about the transformation, not much to say. You gotta get 3 Guppy related items to get you this one. So yeah, for my fun fact for this one, there is a video uploaded in 2007 that shows Guppy in all his glory. In order to get Beelzebub, you have to pick up 3 fly-related items. This converts small flies into blue flies and causes larger flies to become friendly and follow Isaac between rooms. It also gives Isaac flight. Nothing too exotic with this one. You can get some pretty powerful allies like those brimstone flies or the tainted flies you find in the Ascent. The Fun Guy transformation requires 3 mushroom items and simply gives the health up. Yeah, there's literally nothing else to say about this. Like I tried to find something interesting to say. This is one of the transformations of all time. Adult is pretty unique in that it requires 3 puberty pills to be taken, but it's the exact same as Fun Guy. It just gives you a health up. This one is also a relatively easy transformation to get, since all you really need is your run to have the puberty pill, and you just have to get lucky enough to get 3 of them. Seraphim requires 3 different angel-themed items to get, and gives you flight and 3 soul hearts. Let me just say, look at this item spread. That's just amazing to look at. Fun fact, prior to Repentance Plus, the Seraphim item did not give Seraphim transformation progress. So it's good to know that the game was literally unplayable before Repentance Plus. It is important to note that different copies of the Bible encountered do individually give transformation progress, so having the Rosary and Rosary bead make it easier to get this transformation. Leviathan is the Deltarune counterpart to Seraphim, except instead of 3 soul hearts, it grants 2 black hearts. There are a couple Deltarune items that contribute to this one, and again, that spread of items is satisfying to look at. Fun fact, the Sanguine Bond spikes in Deltarune have a 2% chance to transform Isaac into Leviathan. Bob is a very restrictive transformation. It only has 5 possible items, and one of them is a trinket. This grants you creep that does 20 damage per second and gives you poison immunity. For reference, depression deals 6 damage per second, and lemon mishap does 24 damage per second. But yeah, this one is nearly as bad as Necromancer in terms of getting it. It doesn't help that it has a trinket, and Ipecac can only be found in the treasure room. Spun. One of the best transformations in terms of effects and how easy it is to acquire. After obtaining 3 syringe items, Isaac gets +2 damage and +0.15 speed. It also drops a random pill on the ground. I think we all know that playing in multiplayer makes Spun way more likely to show up, since you find more boss items. I wanted to quantify this using some rough calculations, so let's head to the spreadsheet. Alright, it's been a while since we've done an unscripted spreadsheet segment in this video. I know y'all are all super excited for this one. So as we know, there's 414 items in the item room pool and 65 items in the boss room pool. There are 6 syringes you can find in the item room and then 5 in the boss room that contribute to Spun. However, it's important to note that there is some overlap. There are 3 syringes that you can find in the item room and the boss. Those are Experimental Treatment, Roid Rage, and Speedball. This overlap makes it pretty difficult. Well, I shouldn't say pretty difficult. It makes it basically impossible to calculate a 100% rock solid, statistical probability for a chance of getting spun. So this is a very rough approximation. So down here we have player count and the number of treasure room items and boss room items you find. So in multiplayer, you don't change the number of treasure room items you see. It's 6. I mean, I guess this technically could be higher than 6 because you might find treasure rooms with more than one pedestal, but don't worry about it. So boss room items increase by 7 for each player you add. Because you start with 6, but after you defeat Mom will actually drop a regular boss item after the pedestal. So that's why it increases by 7 and not just 6. So with all this information, we have all the required inputs to run a hypergeometric distribution. We can input our number of successes we're looking for. We have our number of draws and the amount of boss room items we see. We have the number of successes in the population. That's the number of syringes. And then we have the size of the population. So we can generate this table of probabilities of the chance of finding a specific syringe count given your player count. However, we don't really care too much about this table. We're really looking at this table because in order to find Spun, you don't need exactly 3 syringes. You just need at least 3. So for instance, if you don't find any syringes in the item room, you have a roughly 34% chance to get Spun with 4 players. These input boxes are if you find a syringe in an item room. So non-overlapping would be, let's say we find adrenaline, which isn't in the boss pool. This massively spikes the odds, as you would expect, because now we only have to find 2 syringes in the boss pool. So 4 players, it jumps up to about 70%. It's interesting to note that finding a syringe that overlaps with the boss pool is significantly worse for your chances than finding one that isn't in the boss pool. This is because the boss pool, you can think of it's a lot more concentrated than the item room pool. So by removing a success in this smaller population, it gets a lot harder to find a syringe in the boss pool. So if you get one in the item room, it's only about a 56.6% chance versus the non-overlapping is 70%. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Again, this is nowhere near perfect. I mean, this is a rough, the amount of unique situations in this game, it would be nearly impossible to calculate a true probability for this. I mean, because when you think about it, the order that you find the treasure rooms and the boss items affects the probability too. The way this is being calculated is if you open all 6 treasure rooms first and then open all the boss items, which, is not accurate, but, it's just a rough approximation. Of course, I generated some bar graphs. We got, a little chart showing the chance of Spun increase with player count. And then we have a couple of little distribution bar graphs of the number of syringes you can expect to find in the boss room for your player count. So yeah, I thought this was just a kind of interesting thought experiment. Let me know if you want a separate video diving deep into the spreadsheet, and I can also make a public copy for you guys to mess around with if you want. This transformation requires Isaac to pick up 3 mom items. All this does is grant Isaac a stationary mom's knife that trails behind him. This knife synergizes like Mom's knife would. This one is, I would say, also relatively easy to obtain since there are a couple boss items in there. I mean, I don't know, I feel like you always see, Mom's heels and stuff a lot more than you'd like. Conjoined is also one of the more common transformations. This requires you to pick up 3 familiars. This causes Isaac to fire 2 additional diagonal tears. This transformation decreases Isaac's damage and tears by 0.3. Interestingly, Little Gish and Little Monstro do not contribute towards Conjoined. I guess because they're little versions of bosses? But Little Steven and Little Loki do, so I don't know. Familiars granted by Cambion and Immaculate Conception do not contribute. Monster Manual also does not contribute towards this transformation. Using Soul of Lilith does count. Using the Sacrificial Altar does remove Conjoined if it lowers your count below 3. This one is also fairly rare. Picking up 3 poop items causes Isaac to turn into, well, you see it on screen. This transformation causes poops to heal Isaac for half a heart. It also causes Isaac to have a 1/15th chance for every 30 seconds in a hostile room to spawn a poop. So I guess you could think of it as a way worse placenta, I guess. This transformation does literally nothing for characters without red hearts. I mean, I guess the poop could drop some pickups for you, but let's just move on. Collecting 3 spider items will grant Isaac a familiar that applies random status effects to enemies it comes in contact with. It just gives you a little guy. Not much else to say for this one. Stompy is a very rare one. You have to get 3 size ups. This transformation enables Isaac to destroy obstacles by walking over them. You can also crush rock spiders and tinted rock spiders, but they still spawn the spider, so I don't really see the purpose of this. Seems like a good way to get yourself hit. This transformation also gives you a chance to spawn rock waves upon taking damage. This transformation is extremely restrictive. The only 2 items that contribute towards it are Leo and Magic Mushroom. Leo is only obtainable from the item room, and Magic Mushroom is only found in the item room or ultra secret room, or rarely from mushrooms. The most reliable way to get this transformation is by taking 3 one makes you larger pills. Size down items do not negatively impact your transformation progress, so I guess you could technically become a regular sized Stompy. Fun fact, this is the only transformation that doesn't affect Isaac's appearance. He looks the exact same. So there's all the transformations in the Binding of Isaac. Some of them are so rare or so meaningless you'd never encounter them or care to encounter them normally, while others are pretty common and pretty good.